needs a brother, so we're going to have a baby. And then they do it again. And I'm just sitting back going, yeah, I'm going to go get drunk over here. You guys have fun with that.
I like how they blame it on the 3-year-old. Like, the three of them all, the 3-year-old is the one with agency in that situation. Like, oh, well, it's his fault.
What?
They blame it on their other kid. Like, oh, well, he needed this.
He needed a brother.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, you're grown. You know how this works. I'm not saying you shouldn't. I'm just saying take some responsibility.
Oh, well, this isn't even in the U.S. Wow. A 27-year-old Indian man is suing his parents, with whom he admits to having a good relationship, because they brought him into the world without his consent.
They just happen to be wealthy.
I don't know. Raphael Samuel. Wow, that's not a very Indian name.
No, it's not. That's
New
like the
Delhi.
whitest name of Whitesville.
Right. Said that children aren't indebted to their parents and that children should ask their mothers and fathers for an explanation as to why they gave birth to you.
I agree with the first part. I agree for those interested in the topic to the second part, but if children aren't interested in why, they shouldn't ask why. If they are, then they should, and their parents should give them an honest answer.
I've always just had that answer be forthcoming, not only with myself, but with the people I knew. Like, maybe more than you wanted to know, but definitely it was like, I didn't really want you, and so whatever.
Well, I mean, most children are, I don't know about most, but many children are, attempted for. I mean, it's not something that generally just happens by accident. Oh, well, we weren't planning on having a kid, but daddy was busting his nuts anyway. That's generally uncommon. Or it's, secrets. One of the people wanted a child and just kept forgetting to pull out or whatever.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess I should look up the stats on that. Maybe I'm just really not biased, but have a really skewed view of that, because I don't know anybody from where I was who was on purpose.
I want to tell Indian kids they don't owe their parents anything, Samuel told India's The Print. I love my parents. We have a great relationship, but they had me for their joy and their pleasure. My life's been amazing, but I don't see why I should put another life through the rigmarole of school and finding a career, especially when they didn't ask to exist.
So I don't have a kid. What does this have to do with his parents? I'm confused.
Samuel's belief is part of a system called antinatalism, which promotes the notion that children shouldn't be forced to be born, especially at the expense of the planet.
Okay. This is the part that this is the meat of the argument for me, because I agree to an extent. I was not asked to be born, and if you had told me prior to my birth what the next 15 years of my life were really going to be like, I would have said, no thanks, I'm good on that.
Oh yeah, no, if I had to do it over, I'm taking the Sinai. But if I get to start at 18, all right.
Well,
Okay.
I don't know if I would go that far.
No, I would. No, if I had to start over, Sinai.
Okay, fair enough. But back to my point, which is I was not asked whether or not I wanted to exist, because I could not be asked whether you cannot ask a non-existent thing whether they want to exist. That's logically impossible. So the antinatalism, or his arguments here, I was not asked if I wanted to exist. He didn't specifically say that, but that's generally what they're getting at. It's stupid.
Samuel went on to compare childbearing to both kidnapping and slavery.
I mean, it's a pro-suicide argument, sure.
So lots of parents do engage in slavery, but I don't know how
he's
it's
a nihilist.
kidnapping, because you
Well,
can't
he's an
kidnap
idiot.
somebody that doesn't exist.
He describes himself as a nihilist at some point during this?
He runs a Facebook page called Nihilanand. Nihilanand. Yeah. Which boasts a whopping 800 followers. You can find various memes and videos advocating for allowing the human race to simply die out. A good parent.
That's not nihilism. It is in the sense that Nietzsche would have actually used it derogatorily as an insult of nihilists.
Yeah.
But it is not the philosophical branch typically called nihilism. That's just emo bull crap. That's all that is. Oh, I'm so edgy. I'm going to sue my parents because I was born.
Infertility is sexy. No, seriously, he has a video of himself in a t-shirt that says, infertility is sexy.
It sounds like he doesn't have to worry about whether or not he's fertile.
Not according to a few thousand years of human evolutionary development, kiddo.
Yeah, those big hips you're attracted.
We have some good news. The indictments against Ross Ulbricht in the District of Maryland were dismissed with prejudice, meaning they can never be refiled. This is especially good because those indictments contain the only charge ever made that Ross engaged in murder for hire. This was a serious allegation that Ross Ulbricht denies. It was never prosecuted or ruled on by a jury, but was trumpeted by the federal government and the media as if it were proven fact. The Maryland court held these indictments for almost 5 years, poisoning Ross's case and leaving him under a cloud of unproven allegations. As explained in Ross's appeal to the Supreme Court, the fact that the judge used these allegations to give Ross a draconian sentence of double life without parole violated his Sixth Amendment right to a jury trial. Judges are required to issue sentences based on convictions decided by a jury, not unproven allegations never even charged at trial. Although this is a positive development, the dropped indictment will not set Ross free. Now, a presidential pardon is Ross's only hope of freedom. Sign the petition at freeross.org. freeross.org.
I love My Magic Mud. I drink a lot of coffee. I had stains on my teeth. Then I found My Magic Mud, and I was told it would remove stains. So I paid attention when I brushed the first time. My Magic Mud is black tooth powder, and the difference it made in my teeth in one application was noticeable. With 4, my teeth were as white as you normal folks out there. Please go to mymagicmud.com and buy a jar. There's 150 applications for $25. You can use Bitcoin, mymagicmud.com.
Is spreading the message of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace around the globe worth $2 per month to you? As you may already know, in addition to our internet feed, LRN.FM broadcasts on free-to-air satellite across North and Central America, as well as Sub-Saharan Africa. And we've been available on satellite for free 24/7 since 2010. The LRN.FM free-to-air satellite signal is reaching some of the most oppressive regimes in the world, and there's no doubt our ideas are making an impact. You can learn more about the channel's impact by watching the 3-minute video at fund.lrn.fm. If you'd like to help free minds globally with our ideas of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace, you can donate as little as $2 per month via fund.lrn.fm. You can help us continue and expand our satellite broadcast to multiple continents. Visit fund.lrn.fm today, and thank you for your help. Don't forget to share the link on social media. That's fund.lrn.fm.
LRN.FM is proud to announce our official listening apps for Android and iOS devices. Now you can easily tune into our streams anywhere, anytime on your smartphone or tablet. Just visit apps.lrn.fm or search for LRN.FM in the Android or Apple app stores. Please download, rate us 5 stars, then share the link on your social media and let your friends and family know how you're listening to LRN.FM. Download it now, free at apps.lrn.fm.
Thomas the Tank Engine says he's a little uneasy with his broad autistic following, and a couple has a nest egg of debt to make sure they've got some money to owe down the road. This is the Onion Week in Review. Local video editor James Korf told reporters Wednesday that despite having said goodbye over 10 minutes ago, his friend, Michael Woodward, still remained active on GChat and had shown no signs of leaving.
If it were yellow, it would mean that he hasn't been on the computer for a little while, or if it was red, it would mean he doesn't want to talk, but it's green. I can tell. I can see it right there.
Korf later said that he felt briefly relieved when Woodward's chat logo turned orange, but was once again dejected when it became green within seconds. And in this week's op-ed pages, a high school guidance counselor laments the fact that no one in his entire damn school has been molested. In other news, a bedbug feels bad for an area man, but a bug's gotta eat. A development exec wants to see what, where, and how that would look, live, and play out, and a man at the gym is just watching TV. For more, visit theonion.com/newsbeat.
This is the Onion News Network.
You can put the Liberty Radio Network on the air in your area. Visit broadcast.lrn.fm to learn how. Broadcast.lrn.fm.
You are listening to the Call to Freedom.
Live on LRN.fm. تستمعون إلى نداء للحرية مباشرة على LRN.fm.
Welcome back here to the Call to Freedom here on LRN.FM. We've been talking about a 27-year-old man in India says that, you know what? I should be able to sue my parents for giving birth to me because they didn't ask me before they made that decision.
I disagree.
How do I ask you if you don't exist? That's the first thing. How do I garner consent from a non-existent being?
He should be allowed to kill himself for sure.
Okay, but that's not what he's saying. He's saying
that's why I disagree.
Right, but it's a decision you have to make in their absence, and that they can reverse. So
yes, via suicide.
We should kind of all just get over it.
Well, I think his point and the whole antinatalist movement should be more about normalizing society as something not necessarily indicative of mental illness throughout society. Because I believe that would be the solution here. Okay, I didn't want to exist. My parents wanted me to, but I don't want to, so I'm out. Peace. I think that would be a more valid approach than I'm going to sue my parents.
Some of the memes that this cat has on his page include one that says, "A good parent puts the child above its wants and needs, but the child itself is a want of the parent." Another calls parents hypocrites.
Look, that is not necessarily. That's a really bleak way to view human relationships. This guy needs a hug, man. I don't think he's got a good relationship.
Maybe that's his
I think he's just a lazy bastard.
Yeah, I don't think he's got a good relationship with his parents at all. I don't think they hug this dude enough.
Isn't forcing a child into the world and then forcing it to have a career kidnapping and slavery?
How are you forcing it to have a career?
Well, no, he's a rich kid, and his parents probably cut up his credit card. So now he's like, I think my parents should not have given birth to me if they don't want to give me the money that I want.
So give him the right to kill himself. It's not your parents requiring you to get a job.
He doesn't want to kill himself. He doesn't want to have a career in order to sustain himself. So he's going to sue.
Yeah, but that's not his parents' fault. That's reality's fault. It's not your parents making you get a job. It's not even society making you get a job. It's the fact that if you don't eat, you will starve to death.
It's their fault that he exists. So it's their fault.
Sure, but I mean, he can remedy that. He can remedy that problem very quickly and easily with, a 12 gauge.
The only reason that your children are facing problems is because you had them. Wow.
So there's this
guy,
concept called attenuation. And that's about 1 million steps into it.
Well, I mean, he's not wrong.
It's true in the same sense that somebody got in a car accident because I left early and they cut me off, and if I wasn't there to cut off, then they wouldn't have been at the same spot down the road 30 miles later. Like, it's technically true, but ridiculous.
I don't think that's a fair analogy at all, because it's a deliberate choice of the parents to have a child.
Your parents had you instead of a toy or a dog. You owe them nothing. You are their entertainment.
Yeah, so if all they do is have you, you don't owe them anything. Some parents go beyond that, which you do.
Well, I think
but
it's
that
pretty
doesn't mean they owe you.
I think it's pretty common in Indian society, is it not, that the children do owe something to their parents?
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah.
So it may just be a social thing, a cultural thing.
In India, it's very, very like you have some areas where they kiss the feet of the parents when they enter the room, and like it's very, very formal in Hindu, particularly in Hindu culture. You don't really see it as much among the Muslims.
That's what I'm saying. It's a cultural thing.
It's a cultural thing in every culture to take care of the parents. In China, in the Middle East, in Europe.
Not in the West.
Only in America do we put them in homes and just ignore them until we can collect their inheritance.
Yeah, but they started that.
Who did?
You didn't see that until you started putting kids in daycare and stuff like that.
Ah, true.
I mean, so if that's the example you set, that's what we do with people who need care is we put them in this institution. You can't be surprised when 50 years later, 60 years, whatever, how many years later.
See, I grew up in a house where we took care of grandma.
That's a really good point.
I grew up, even though I went to a daycare center for a part of my childhood, we took care of grandma. I helped take care of grandma as a 10 and 11-year-old boy. She was in a wheelchair. She had a catheter. She had a bag. It was the thing, So,
I mean, that's certainly better than paying it forward. But not everybody has the spiritual fortitude to take that route.
Well, that's part of the reason why we're going down south is because my sons and daughters need to learn that, like, this is what you, because the culture here doesn't teach that anymore. And like you said, it's the parents as well.
Yeah, so if you had parents that took, and I mean, a lot of people did. I'm not saying like, if you had parents that actually took care of you besides like, well, I'm going to throw you in a room and there's some Cheerios on the floor because I'm legally obligated to throw Cheerios on the floor. Like, if they like actually took care of you, then yes, when they get old, you should take care of them. But the fact that you had sex 30, 50 years ago doesn't entitle you to just like extended long-term care. Like, so you have to actually raise the kid in order to get that.
Check this out. Children are entitled? Really? I thought giving birth to another being without its consent and then forcing it to work and pay bills for your pleasure is the definition of entitled.
Wait, don't Hindus in India believe in like reincarnation? So like maybe they did ask him.
Oh, right.
We asked you when you were your great-great-grandmother, and she said, okay. So
you were your great-great-grandmother's cow, and we asked.
So stop complaining. So he's pissed off because his parents are retiring or something like that.
And he's not going to get any more money. That's what it sounds like.
I mean, he's never stated that. He's saying that, he doesn't want to work to pay for them.
Well, no.
I mean, he stated that repeatedly.
No, not to pay for them.
That's what he has said. I mean, he said that repeatedly. You read it out.
To work to pay bills.
For them.
No, having,
I mean, that's what you literally read.
That having you was a toy to them.
Right.
Not that you have to physically pay for them when they're older.
That's not what he said.
That's not what he said. He didn't say anything about paying for them when they get older. He says you don't owe your parents anything, even respect.
He said work for their benefit.
To him, you were a dog or a toy. Everything that you exist is an entertainment. That's what he keeps reiterating, is that you were an entertainment for them. Not that you were their source of revenue, but that you're their source of you're the source of entertainment.
I heard that, but I also heard it being a matter of him not wanting to pay for his parents.
Let's see here. An Indian bride has set an example by defying the rituals, saying you can never pay parents' debts. On the other hand, an Indian who believes that he owes nothing to his parents is ready to drag them to court for giving birth to him. This is from an Indian source, where they can't believe it. Yeah,
Neither
parents,
can we, and we're not even Indian.
Yeah, your parents had you instead of a toy or a dog. You owe them nothing. You are their entertainment. That's what he keeps stating over and over again. Yeah. Isn't forcing a child into the world and forcing it to have a career kidnapping and slavery? He's not talking about you paying their bills. He's talking about him having to pay his own damn bills.
Okay.
Is slavery.
I mean, maybe if you raised a kid and this is what you ended up with, like maybe you did screw up. And
yeah.
You kind of deserve this. Like, I mean, where were you when his brain was being formed? Like, come on.
He was definitely not hugged enough as a child.
Yeah,
I'm certain of
should
that.
have hugged him more.
Yeah.
Anyway, when we get back here on the Call to Freedom, we're going to be talking about the wasted money for a $50 fine over some guy smoking a joint in public. Oh, the government. Thousands of dollars for a $50 fine.
So you've signed the Shire Society Declaration and are planning your move to New Hampshire to be around more liberty-oriented people. Next, sign up for the Shire Society Forum at forum.shiresociety.com. There are a bunch of people there who are already in the Shire, and they want to meet you. If you're already in the Shire physically, you should also come by the forums. Remember, not everyone uses Facebook. New people are signing up for the Shire Society Forum every month, so drop in and say hello at forum.shiresociety.com.
Since time began, tyrants have taken aim at personal liberties. Now there's a movie that aims back.
The government has no more right to tell us what to put in our bodies than they have to take our guns or tell us what books we can read.
6 drug police were eaten by bears while raiding a marijuana farm.
On your knees, you dirty hippies! Jesus. On your knees! What's the
problem, officer?
Today, many cops who enforce pot laws do so only because it provides them with cushy jobs, good benefits, and a chance to push people around.
I was an undercover narcotics officer. The drug war is nothing but a farce.
The Second Amendment says you got to keep you and your gat intact.
Guns and Weed, The Road to Freedom. A film by Michael W. Dean and Nima Vadati.
DVD available now at gunsandweed.com or on Amazon. That's gunsandweed.com. Makes the perfect gift. Remember, that's gunsandweed.com.
There are lots of ways to listen to Free Talk Live. Our podcast has been around since podcasts began, and now the FTL feed is loaded with content besides our full show archives. Did you know that we make it easy for you to customize your podcast subscriptions? We have different feeds, one that includes only our full shows, one with just the Daily Digest, and one with just the Edgington Post. You decide what you listen to. It's quick and easy to customize your feeds at feeds.freetalklive.com. That's feeds.freetalklive.com. The new 4th edition of Healing Our World, The Compassion of Libertarianism, will take your understanding of liberty to a deeper level and has over 1,300 updated references, new cartoons, and a foreword by Dr. Ron Paul. With discounts for multiple book purchases, the 4th edition of Healing Our World is a great gift for the liberals, pragmatists, environmentalists, and Christians in your life who think libertarianism is cold-hearted. Get yours today at healing.freetalklive.com and use promo code FTL for a $5 discount. LRN.FM now has a Discord. Discord is a free text and voice chat platform, and we now have our own server with a bunch of channels at discord.lrn.fm. You can join other listeners as they chat about various things during our live shows, or anytime, day or night. Discord software is available cross-platform, so you can have it on whatever device you want and take your chats anywhere. Join our Discord at discord.lrn.fm. That's discord.lrn.fm.
The warning signs.
First, he made me feel special. He promised he'd look after me, provide for my future. He broke every promise he made.
Millions of Americans afflicted.
I was ready to leave, but he told me he'd change. So I gave him another chance. I was such a fool.
The consequences.
Things only got worse. He started making my decisions for me. About my job, my kids' education, my money, my safety, my future. He took away my choices, but I kept going back to the same politicians.
The diagnosis? Battered voter syndrome.
I fell for the same old lies. They were just playing with my emotions, telling me what I wanted to hear. That's not right.
If you're tired of the two-party system but want to support a principled Libertarian Party, check out the Libertarian Party of New Hampshire at lpnh.org. That's lpnh.org.
Help get LRN.FM into more ears. Visit promote.lrn.fm for a free bumper sticker, flyers, banners, graphics, and more. Promote.lrn.fm.
This is Angel Clark, and you're listening to The Call to Freedom on LRN.fm.
Discussion first on marijuana, okay? Marijuana has a very distinct smell, okay? I'm going to pass around just a little tiny bit, and I want you all to take a smell so you know when someone is smoking marijuana near you.
Welcome here to the Call to Freedom, the final segment of our 3-hour broadcast today. On your drive home, it's our cannabis news segment. Your only source, libertarian source for cannabis news anywhere. Today's story coming out of Denver. It'll be coming from CBS Denver, actually. A guilty verdict for the founder of the Cannabis Church. And
founder of that church that uses marijuana in its sacraments is told to stop allowing its members to light up. The end of a 4-day trial may have helped define what is public and what is the private use of marijuana. Thanks for being with us. I'm Karen Lee.
I'm Jim Benham, and CBS 4 investigator Rick Salinger has been covering the case at the International Church of Cannabis. It's on South Logan. Rick, a jury just returned a verdict.
Well, Jim, the defendant and his attorneys seem clearly stunned by the guilty verdicts. This church uses marijuana as part of its sacraments, but the city maintained the founder was using marijuana openly and consuming it, and also in violation of the Clean Indoor Air Act. Steve Burke emerged from the courthouse having been found guilty of misdemeanor charges, but he feels there was a bigger issue at stake with its church and how it practices religion.
This was a gross misstep of government interference on private property, on a private invite-only spiritual assembly.
It was the opening of this church on April 20th, 2017, 420. While some were openly smoking marijuana in Civic Center Park, others were in the church for what was billed as an invitation-only event. The city claimed it was really public.
There are plenty of opportunities to legally consume marijuana in Denver in your private home, and there also is opportunities with a social consumption license.
An undercover officer got into the church for the event, although some members of the public were turned away. The penalty for Burke's conviction is just a $50 fine and $21 in court costs. But he sees this as an intrusion on a constitutional right.
I mean,
as far as the last time I checked, we have a constitutional right of freedom of religion in this country. And because I believe cannabis helps me on my spiritual journey, doesn't give somebody else the right to say that's not a valid religion. It is.
He looks blazed.
The church plans to continue its services and events here, but the city sent it this letter just before it opened, and it reads, "The law is clear that a belief in the benefits of marijuana does not constitute a religious belief." Live in Denver, Rick Salinger, covering Colorado First.
All right, Rick, thank you.
That's like saying that wine is not a sacrament in Jewish services because people imbibe it to get drunk.
Yeah, but wine has to be specifically exempted from those state laws.
Yeah.
We are following breaking news right now in Denver. Copter 4 showing us a large crime.
What he's saying is that he's being discriminated against because his sacrament is cannabis instead of wine.
Yeah, so if it was like a church of something else and not the church of weed, like these other religions you're talking about have a whole religion around them, and then also they happen to sip wine.
Well, like Rastafarianism then. Let's assume he's a Rastafarian. My question is still the same. It's going to be, what is the distinction the courts are using, and what is the basis for which they're doing it when determining whether a belief is religious or non-religious?
There is a 5-pronged test that I'm not going to remember it all right now, but it has dealing with the ultimate purposes of life, life
you can get that outside of religion.
Well, yeah.
And there's 3 other ones. I'm not. It's not. I don't think I could.
So I would assume that for something to qualify as a religious belief, it would have to meet all of the criteria.
Oh, no, it's one of those balancing tests, which means they grant it if they feel like it. But there's still like.
So it's ultimately subjective, and they just asked the question as to make it sound more formal and official than it really is.
So
I mean, they're violating people's First Amendment rights to exercise their religion by saying your beliefs aren't a religion.
They're violating people's rights to smoke weed, and they need to stop doing that, and that is oppression in and of itself. This is not a real religion, though. This religion would not exist.
How can you say that?
Because it would not exist if it were not for weed laws. Because it has no other tenets.
But it does exist.
Yeah, it's that's like saying that the Sufi groups that used to use cannabis as a religious sacrament, they weren't valid. They weren't real. They were, though. They existed. They're the reason why cannabis laws in the Muslim world exist, is because some of them went a little too far, as happens with every group. There's always outliers that go too far. So. And that's where those laws came from. They used those outliers in the same way that Mexicans were used in America, and African Americans and anti-war protesters were used in the United States as a way to make those laws here. But, I mean, this guy saying that the usage of cannabis as a form of a religious sacrament, I just don't.
I mean, I would not necessarily disagree, because cannabis does have some psychotropic qualities. But it's not it's no shrooms, man.
For real.
You might slowly throughout the course of your life mellow out.
Elevation Ministries. Members welcome. Uses cannabis as a sacrament. Adheres to no specific dogma. Its members are known as
don't put that
elevationists.
in your fake church. Don't put adheres to no specific dogma in your fake legal church.
Claim that the use of cannabis
Isn't that essentially the Shire Free Church's mantra?
And did they get that tax-free status?
Claims that
I'm not worried about I'm not worried about what the state says about it. I'm at this point I'm more concerned with what you say about it and whether or not you consider it to be a valid religious belief.
Well,
simply
anyone
because
in there could have a valid religious belief.
you seem to be arguing that it's not a valid religious belief if the state says it isn't.
Well, no, but if you're going to create an organization for the sole purpose of getting around laws, don't put things in there that would defeat that purpose.
That's a fair point.
The chapel headquarters, a converted old church painted by contemporary artists, opened its doors April 20th of 2017. Members of the church are known as elevationists. They ritually use cannabis, which they call the sacred flower, to accelerate and deepen self-discovery. A member is considered awakened when their cannabis experience becomes transcendental in nature. Elevationism claims no divine law, no unquestionable doctrine, following only the golden rule. Since 420 is a significant number for cannabis culture, the church opened its doors to the public on April 20th, and its members light cannabis at 4:20 p.m. The celebration of the sacrament of cannabis, held every Friday, is the only regular service of the church. The symbol of the church is a set of interlocking triangles. By itself, ritual use of cannabis is not a modern invention, as it appeared in several world religions over a period of 3,000 years. Also, the International Church of Cannabis is just one of several modern religious organizations that considers cannabis a sacrament. In May 2017, the church announced that it would begin offering wedding services in a cannabis-friendly environment.
Okay, yeah, so there are ways to accomplish this. This is not one of them.
Members of any religion can become elevationists. Did you hear that too?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Something just broke in for a second and right back out. It sounded like it was saying on LRN. Oh, okay. Members of any religion can become elevationists without the need to convert, since elevationism is seen as a supplement rather than replacement to existing faiths.
Okay, there's certainly not a religion then.
Yep. The only restriction is that persons under 21 years of age aren't allowed into the church when cannabis is being consumed. The church does not have a formal hierarchy. The church's membership increased to 200 people from around 50 on the opening week after increased media attention, and has allegedly led to risen to over 500 2 weeks after. The religious nonprofit organization behind the church was formally established in Colorado in 2016. Democrat from the Colorado House of Representatives banning cannabis. Oh, okay. Never mind. So yeah, it's not a religion. It's a supplement. No, it's not a religion.
Yeah.
Well, I want to smoke weed is not a religion either. Even I should smoke weed is also not a religion. It's a statement on a single issue.
Yeah, but I'm open to the idea of someone pursuing a meditative-based religion where cannabis helps with that.
Right, yeah. But that's more than just I want to smoke weed.
Yeah.
Well, to be fair, they have said more than just we want to smoke pot. They say, it deepens our spiritual understanding or whatever.
Yeah, it helps us reach self-awareness faster.
But you have to build that part, not just I want to smoke weed 420.
All right, Free Talk Live is coming up next.
Why did you move to the Shire?
I moved here to the Shire because there's other people around who take liberty just as seriously as I do.
I moved to the Shire because I saw videos of people challenging authority and thought that I could get support myself. It called to me like, do this right now.